So, let's get into tonight's case. This is another sad and tragic story about a young girl who lost her life way too soon. This is the case of Bianca Devins. She was a 17-year-old girl who was brutally murdered by someone who she considered to be a friend, someone who she and her family trusted. So let's go back to the beginning, as we always do. Bianca was born on October 6th, 2001. She lived in a town called Utica, New York. That is in upstate New York. She had a mother named Kim and two younger sisters. She also had a loving grandfather. I have zero information on her father. I don't know if he was ever in her life or what his status was, but I've heard zero about him. Bianca was a troubled girl from an early age. At age 9, she was first diagnosed with separation anxiety and started receiving treatment. Now, separation anxiety is something you usually associate with toddlers or young school-aged children. And it tends to show its head, when you have to drop your kid off for school and they have extreme trouble, separating from their caregiver, usually the mother. But she was 9. Which I imagine is still a time when you can experience separation anxiety. But just imagine that it was that extreme of a condition still at 9. Imagine yourself a 9-year-old and those feelings of separation anxiety, how awful they are. Then when she was 13, she was diagnosed with depression, and she had become a bit isolated. She started spending a lot of time in her room, online, on social media. And that was a place where she could be somebody different. She could reinvent herself and not be the same girl that she was in real life. By age 16, she was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. She was having mood swings and very low self-esteem. She became labeled by others as an E-girl. An E-girl, if you're not familiar with the term, is usually used to describe a certain aesthetic, a certain look, which tends to be sort of emo, sort of anime-looking, childlike appearance, possibly winged eyeliner, bright-colored eyeshadow, into gaming. extremely active in social media and had a presence in on many different, sites. She was what people like to refer to as a micro-influencer, which in my opinion is not a very nice word, but they like to have a word for everything these days, so it just means somebody, with a small following. So, even though there's a lot of confusion out there because nobody was counting her followers before she died, and once she had died, the numbers went up, but it is believed she had between 2,000 and 6,000 followers on Instagram. But even though she wasn't huge, she had a niche, She had people who really liked her online, really followed her. And not only was she on Instagram, she was also on Discord, which, if you haven't heard of that, it's a site where pretty much anyone can make their own little community, an online community, kind of like a chat group, where a bunch of people can come and talk together about whatever it is they want, And she was also on a page called 4chan, which is something that I personally avoid like the plague. If it even still exists, which I don't know, but it's like the dark side of the internet, in my opinion. It's like a free-for-all where people can come and chat about anything, like no restrictions. You know what I mean? Like really dark things, just evil, bullying, just horrible, everything horrible in life you can find there, okay? I'll just say that. So I don't know what she was doing on there, but she was on there. And she had a lot of what is called orbiters, which were kind of like guys who kind of orbited her, followed her all over, on social media, in the hopes that they might, get together with her, but it wasn't going to happen. It was never going to happen. They were just orbiting her, And she did have quite a bit of trolling, and nastiness coming her way, but don't we all, right? I don't know, maybe she had more than usual. But, okay, so now a couple months before graduation, she met a guy on social media named Brandon Clark, and he was 21. She was 17. And they really liked each other. And it turned out he only lived an hour away. He lived in a town called Bridgeport, New York. So they decided it would be okay, for them to meet up in person. And when she met him, he seemed really nice. Her mother liked him, didn't notice any red flags. Even though he was from a pretty bad family, like an unstable family. His father had held his mother up at knife point and threatened to kill her, and the police had to come. So he was from an abusive home, let's just say. And there was some confusion regarding what their relationship was. Some were trying to say that he was her boyfriend. According to Kim, Bianca's mother, they were never in a relationship like that. It seemed like they just kind of were in an uncommitted, like, I don't know the words to use to describe it in a nice way, but you know what So people were calling the police. And the police didn't know either. Plus, they didn't know where this even was. So they went over to Bianca's house to find out where she was, and her mother said she did not know. You know, she knew she had gone to a concert the night before, but by the way, it has turned into the next day now, so it is, you know, the murder happened overnight into the next day, so it actually happened on July 14th of 2019. So she didn't know where her daughter was, okay, at that point, and she couldn't reach her. Meanwhile, Brandon goes ahead and calls 911 himself, and he told the police that Bianca was dead and that he needs to go now and kill himself. And he told them where he was as well. So they raced on over there, and they found him standing outside the car beside a green tarp. Under the green tarp was Bianca, but I don't think they knew that at that moment. And he had a knife, you know, and they told him to put down the knife. But he did not do that right away. Instead, he started, you know, slicing at his own neck and taking pictures and posting them to his social media. So now they're seeing that bloody mess as well. So these people on social media have now seen a dead woman and a man who has just slashed himself. Imagine seeing that kind of stuff. Like, we don't want to see that kind of stuff at all. That is horrifying. That is just so scary. So awful. So traumatizing. He was not successful at taking his own life. The police were able to, you know, stop him and arrest him. Meanwhile, these sick people out on the internet send these pictures to Bianca's mother of her dead body. Hello. So when the police finally came to tell her that they had found Bianca's body, she had already seen the pictures. I guess she didn't know if it was for sure, but still, you know, how do you do that? Why would you do that? Why would you send somebody's mother that garbage? Anyway, I mean, it's the worst possible way to find out about something like this. So Brandon was arrested, and he had the whole thing taped on his phone. So there was that. They found that send you a picture. I will send you the picture. That was happening. So it was extremely difficult to get the internet clean of these pictures. Like, seriously. It was like a virus, you know what I mean? Just everywhere. And people kept sending her family these photos and nasty texts, and they were making memes of Bianca's death, and they were sending the memes to the mother, and they were posting the memes everywhere. Tons and tons and tons of them. And the incel community was all over this. So I've spoken about the incels previously in another video, but if you haven't seen that one or you don't know the term, it means generally men who are involuntarily celibate. They want to have sexual relations, but they cannot find someone who will do it with them, basically. And it's not just that, because I'm sure there's plenty of guys who fit that category, but they also tend to be, well, not tend, they are also very misogynistic. They blame the women. They are very hateful of women and of men who do have sexual relationships. They're jealous and hateful of them as well. It's bad all around. Very angry. Meanwhile, these incels picked up on this case, and a lot of them were blaming Bianca for what happened, saying that, it was her fault for, flirting with guys, making guys want her, but then not giving anything back, and they were applauding Brandon for what he had done. Now, Brandon was not an incel, okay, but the incels were very pleased with him, and these people were constantly tormenting Bianca's family as well. So imagine what it was like for them. Not only did their 17-year-old daughter get murdered, but after it happened, instead of getting people coming around and being like, what can I do for you? Can I help you? Can I, bring you some food? Do you need someone to talk to? Instead of that, they're getting bombarded with hate and bullying and horrible photos. That's what they got. So they have been working on passing a law called Bianca's Law. This law would hold social media sites accountable for allowing violent images to be posted, or not just posted, but they can't stop people from posting, but they need to react more quickly and take the things down, and cancel accounts who post these sort of things. This law suggests that these social media companies need to hire specific staff just for this purpose, to police their site for violence. So it is not passed as of yet. Hopefully it will be. Now, if all that wasn't bad enough, there's another terrible thing that happened. There was footage found at the crime scene on one of the phones, I'm not quite clear, which contained, let's just say, inappropriate images and videos of Bianca. She was 17, remember? So that is a minor. But wouldn't you know that the police force distributed that footage to companies who were making documentaries, and even to a YouTube expect someone to murder us, but it was someone that she trusted. And the mother even said she felt safe sending Bianca to the city with him. I don't know. I really don't know. It's just so sad. That poor girl. Well, I think I've spoken enough and shared my opinions throughout the whole thing. So please feel free to tell me what you think about this case.